alive. Too bad you will die.
Choose your destiny. Flawless victory. Choose your destiny. Flawless victory.
And that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is all that you need to know about this wonderful film.
Let's just have the music playing for like 45 minutes, like on a loop.
Maybe that's what they should have done for the movie too.
Yeah.
Just have the music for an hour and 25 minutes in the theater.
Yeah, might have worked.
Welcome back to the Last Row Podcast. My name is Drew, joined on the other side of the room by my co-host, friend, life partner, Mr. Badway.
Whoa.
What's going on, Badway?
Yeah, I've been better.
Our website, thelastrowpodcast.com.
You're just going to go right over that.
Our website.
Where can they find us, Drew?
I'm on autopilot here. TheLastRowPodcast.com. Send us an email. Ask Badway why he's been better. TheLastRowPodcast@gmail.com, because clearly I just glossed right over that. Tweet us at The Last Row Pod on Twitter, Facebook.com/The Last Row Pod, iTunes or Apple Podcasts, whatever it's called these days, Google Plus, Google Play Music. Thanks for being here, Badway.
Mortal Kombat.
I feel like I need to stop and ask if you're all right now.
No. Mortal Kombat Annihilation, 1997. Fantasy/thriller.
Should be video game movie, but why is it listed that way?
That's not a real genre.
Yeah, all right.
Directed by John R. Leonetti of the Leonetti brothers. Famous.
They are actually brothers, right?
They are. IMDb 3.7 out of 10. Too high. Rotten Tomato 3.3%. Too high. Metacritic 11%.
Too high? I don't know. 3% is pretty low. He's just staring at me across the room here.
Every generation, a portal opens up between the Outworld and Earth. Emperor Shao Kahn, ruler of the mythical Outworld. Outer World?
Why did they write that?
That sucks. Pounces the moment the portal reopens and slips through with his mighty warriors. Mighty warriors? Like the ninjas, the little ninja guys?
Warrior. Yeah. It's like the putties in Power Rangers.
Intent on total domination and uniting the two worlds. However, he has only 7 days to complete his task because why?
Because
why does he only have 7 days?
Because the Leonetti brothers got their hands on it.
These rules. In the meantime, opposition grows and warriors Sonya Blade, Jax, Kitana, and Liu Kang get ready for war.
How do you feel about that synopsis? Do you feel that it encompasses everything that this movie is?
It's as good as the movie.
So, including the spelling
I want to get
mistakes.
this out of the way. I want to get this out of the way right away. This movie is awful, and usually we take a bad movie and we kind of show you the bright side, find the good things, the silver lining, so to speak. This movie is bad, and there's no saving it. And this podcast is going to be bad. But there's no saving it.
But let me ask you this. Did you not enjoy it on any level at all?
No, I couldn't wait for it to be over.
You really you didn't find any enjoyment in it?
It was a little bit enjoyably bad, sort of.
Like it wasn't so bad that it was good?
But a movie that's enjoyably bad is kind of like 45 minutes. You're like, all right, let's get on with it. Let's get on with our lives. But I had to go the extra 40 minutes or whatever until it was over.
By and large, this was a short movie. It was like an hour and 20 minutes or something, not even counting the credits, right? Like it's like an hour and 20 minutes. It's pretty short for motion picture standards. But I don't think it was that bad. I mean, we gave our rating at the end, but
Mr. Ever the optimist.
It's clearly a bad movie, as you said. It's not as good as the first one in any way. The first one should have won an Oscar compared to this.
Yeah.
I don't know how this got made into what it was. Maybe we'll find out through the course of this show.
Yeah.
But
we have some detailed files.
It's all right. I mean, I pulled a few of the taglines, and I want to ask you which your favorite is or which you think best maybe describes the movie. But the movie's called Mortal Kombat: Annihilation. Do you think that's a good colon or not?
It's a good colon. The title's all right.
It's because
I'll take it.
I guess in other countries they had a different colon or something. I think France had a different one. It was like called Destruction or just I don't remember how to say destruction in French.
No,
but
destruction.
I thought, and we said this in our original episode. I'll reference this a couple of times. I'll put a link in the show notes. Go back and listen to it. I think it was episode 21 of the Last Row Podcast. we did the first movie, which we pretty much enjoyed, right?
Oh, it was good.
I think on that show, as I was listening back to it recently, you told me, I think I said something like, if we were making a list of movies that we couldn't do, this would be at the top of the list.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Here we are.
See, we owe it to the fans and the
Grasping
listeners.
for straws.
But let me read you some of these taglines. You tell me which one you think is better. So if this was a colon or a comma after the colon, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, destroy all expectations, exclamation point.
Horrible. Next.
Nothing will ever be the same.
Terrible.
Including
Next.
our lives after watching it. The world was created in 6 days, so too shall it be destroyed. And on the 7th day, mankind will rest in peace.
Too many bad words. No. Those are all words that are bad together.
Last time they were fighting for their lives. This time they're fighting for ours.
Good one. I like it.
That's pretty good.
That's a good one.
This time there is no tournament. This time there are no rules. This time there is only annihilation.
I'm a fan of the triple this time.
Yeah.
When you do something like
3
that,
times.
or you get that 3 times, is like you power at home. I like it.
3 this times.
I think this times is the winner for me.
How about this one? Simple, short, sweet, fits right in with the video game. Mortal Kombat Annihilation, Mortal Kombat, Annihilation, comma, test your might, exclamation point.
No, there's not enough context. Like, yeah, it fits with the game, but no, I want the this time.
You don't want to break the bricks, test your might?
No, you could put the this time. I could see it on a poster. I could see it.
Yeah.
Why does it have that many taglines?
I don't know. Is this a common thing for movies?
I
Like,
guess
do they all
you
have
throw
100
it against the wall
taglines?
and see what sticks.
It just seems a little odd.
Yeah.
So, talk a little bit about the box office numbers. We don't usually hit on this, so you can see how far we are grasping for straws on this episode.
Figure out what kind of money they spent,
What
why
went
they
wrong
spent it.
here?
Yeah, what
So,
they make.
the budget itself was an estimated $30 million. Now, back in, I don't know, we have to go to like Box Office Mojo and find out what that is for adjusting for inflation. But this was, what was it, 97? So $30 million
It's
in
modest,
97
but
is
not cheap.
it's a decent budget,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Based
absolutely.
on that budget, what do you think you got? Like, let's say you buy something from the store.
Yeah.
Did you get what you bought with $30 million for this?
It didn't seem like it did it. I feel like, what did they waste their money on?
Did they see, I think I have a theory. When they went to the elder's house, they went to Petra and Jordan.
Uh-huh.
I think they just flew everybody out there to the Middle East to film that scene.
And you know what the sad part is? I couldn't tell.
Yeah, see, I knew right
It
away.
all looked like
but-
crap to me, and I thought the whole movie was shot in a green screen or in a studio.
Which is really odd given the fact that the guy who directed this was a pretty well-respected director of photography for other films, including the first Mortal Kombat.
True.
He did The Mask. He did a bunch of other stuff. It just seems odd, right?
Yeah. I could not tell where they were. It didn't read on screen that they were in these exotic locations, put it that way.
So these guys spent 30 mil, a cool 30 mil. The opening weekend, this in the USA, February 6, 1998, actually November 21st, 1997, this movie makes $16.7 million opening weekend. Now, if you're like a head of the studio, you think that's pretty good? Like, hey, maybe we're off to something here.
I think it's pretty good. I think the first one made more, but 16's not bad back then, I guess.
For opening weekend, I don't
Yeah.
know. I have to judge it.
Yeah.
Gross, this movie made, according to IMDb.com, $35.9 million.
So it barely doubled
It
its
barely
opening
doubled
the
its
rest of
own
the way
budget.
out. Yeah.
So tells you where this wound up and why there hasn't been another one since. I remember reading that this basically torpedoed the franchise. Some people blame this for kind of ruining Mortal Kombat in the 90s. I would argue it probably just got stale for everybody because other games came out like Soul Calibur and stuff.
Yeah. And then the game itself, it's the movie, the game was kind of crappy afterwards,
Well,
right?
Mortal Kombat 4, if we're going to rank video games, I think
Yeah.
it's one of the worst ones of the entire series.
So after this movie, not only did it like submarine more iterations, more sequels.
Yes.
It also submarined the video game itself to where the games themselves got crappier.
Because they try to do too much. Very much like this movie. They try to
Yeah.
do too much. And I think that's where it went wrong.
Do you remember the game where it was like a Sub-Zero game?
Yeah, the mythologies.
The Sub-Zero mythologies.
Yeah.
That game sucked.
I never played it. I don't know if I ever have. I just remember, I think in the old episode that we did, you said he rented it from like
rented it from
Laneco
the
or something.
supermarket.
And it was impossible.
Yeah.
So I think if we're ranking games, I mean, this is up there. Mortal Kombat 4 is up there with the worst. And I think
Yeah.
this maybe took it then. But how do you, so if we talk about the first movie, how do you think this compares to the first? Like, if you gave the first movie like a rating, what would you give this compared to that? Like, is it better? It's worse? I mean, clearly you think it's worse, right?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
how much worse?
How much time you got, buddy?
Yeah, I mean,
No, in every way, including acting, even special effects. I feel like the special effects got worse. You know the scene in one where Reptile was like hiding.
yes, in the statue,
and it looked awful. That looked better than that fight between the two animalities
that was bad
at the end between Shao Kahn and Liu Kang.
That reminds me of the Mortal Kombat, the Power Rangers motion picture where they had like the Zords fighting at the end, and it was just awful CG. Like, why didn't they just do claymation? Why didn't they get the Goro suit out again, the animatronic?
I don't know. Can you animatronically produce Liu Kang's animality?
I mean, go look at Godzilla from like the original Japanese versions. Like, they had a guy in a suit look better than that.
Do you think it's cheaper to make a puppet or to do crappy computer graphics?
I think it's cheaper to make the puppet.
You think it is that big though?
They could have done stop motion.
Well, I guess it doesn't have to be that
miniature.
big. I guess you do
Movie
miniatures.
magic.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have done it.
How big is Godzilla?
I mean, it's
like
pretty big.
don't bust my bubble. Like, if you're gonna tell me Godzilla is like a foot tall, then I'm gonna be very
it's
upset.
like a guy in a rubber suit. Remember remember in Pee Wee's Big Adventure, he goes like through the sound stages, and then there's like the guy and there's
that's right.
He's on the thing, so it's like a guy in a suit.
So it's man sized, and they just use camera tricks.
Yeah, they could have easily done that. So clearly, you don't think the effects are pretty good. How do you think the acting is in this compared to the first one?
It's slightly worse. The first one wasn't that great acting wise either, but they had Christopher Lambert, who's something.
Pretty bad.
He's not that great, but he's something.
He was pretty bad.
It's better than the other dude. What's his name?
Hugo Bosch.
Hugo Bosch.
James Remar.
James Remar.
I thought in the first one too, you had Shang Tsung, who was clearly like leaps and bounds the best actor in the entire film. He was so good.
Still read some lines crappy.
But he was great.
Sold his mind.
He had the leather jacket. He had a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
There really wasn't anybody in this that stole the show, was there?
No. I'll tell you what though. It's funny that Jax, who was a football player, and we found out an American Gladiator.
Yeah.
Saber, right?
Saber.
Yeah. I thought he was pretty good.
He wasn't bad.
And he was probably the least experienced actor in the whole movie, right?
He had really Sinbadian jokes, if I would say that.
That's not his fault.
He was written very much like Sinbad, like in the style of comedy, like the one-liners that he had. I was like, man, is that Sinbad? It reminded me of Jingle All the Way when we were watching it. But I thought he was pretty good. You're right.
And I felt like he was like a window. He was like a vessel for all of us watching the movie as to like commenting on how ridiculous all this is.
It was.
And I thought he did a good job. Like, I thought he was the best actor in this movie, which is strange because he's a gladiator. So and he's not an actor, really.
If he's the best, who's the worst?
Oh man, there's like a 7-way tie.
If you had to give me the worst three, the worst
by far is Sindel.
She
the mother of Katana,
as you heard,
right?
Yeah, she was bad.
Yeah, I hate her outfit. I hate her hair. I hate her face.
Yeah,
I hate her voice. Everything about her.
You just couldn't stand her.
Yeah.
Who else? If you have to name like two more.
Remar was pretty awful too.
He was bad.
Hugo Bosch.
He was.
Yeah, and he's probably the most expensive actor they got.
Yeah,
in the whole movie, and they wasted their money there. Third.
You're really digging deep here.
The guy in the stupid Baraka mask.
That whole costume was so bad. Now let me bring this up because it's a good time to say it here. Now listen, we've said this on multiple tweets about this movie. Without getting too, after dark steamy here.
Yeah.
Does this movie not look like those trailers that they have on YouTube for adult films that say this ain't insert movie title triple X?
So you're going to sit here and claim that you only watch the trailers.
So I'm saying
you're just going to sit here and tell the people that you only watch the trailers. That's the story you're going with?
Yeah, that's my story.
I'll drop it. Okay.
So this ain't, this ain't Batman triple X
parody, yeah.
Like those types of things. So the acting, the costumes, like look at freaking Motaro. He looks like a porn actor.
Oh, Motaro.
Like he looks like an adult film actor.
Yeah.
It's Malibu from Gladiators.
They got another Gladiator.
It's even better. We're like, man, that looks like Malibu. Of course it was Malibu. It actually was. But the Sindel, all the way that they looked, like the costume, Jax's arms.
Oh, yeah, Shao Kahn for sure. Oh, yeah.
Like that guy specifically, he had the bald head. he looked like he was an adult film actor. Just the whole movie, the set design, the way the acting was.
Couldn't you see Evan Stone be Raiden?
Yes.
Couldn't you see that?
That's what I'm saying. Like, he could be Raiden. He had the hair.
Yeah.
You could drop him in there. You could drop all these different guys. Like, you could really, really make this into one of those adult film parodies.
But that shows to show you what kind of production quality we're talking about here. Is like their best was almost on par with like the
crappy,
the budget and like the F's given, so to speak, of a porn movie, which is, short budget, get in, get out, shoot it, and be done with it. And the sad thing is, they probably cared very deeply about making this movie. And I don't mean to cut down people's lives. I mean, this was 1997. They're probably it's 20 years ago. They don't care. They're not listening to me talk about their crappy movie. But
we gave them royalties by streaming it.
But yeah, it's on par with an adult film that cranks these things out. No pun intended. 1 month on to the next one, 1 month and on to the next one, or maybe in a couple of weeks.
I mean, it is funny though, because like you look at the pictures and just the pictures out of context. I bet if you sent that to someone that hasn't seen this and you could said, "Hey, they made an adult film version of Mortal Kombat. Here it is." You could send them that screenshot and they probably would believe you.
Well, it just so happens before we went on air, we actually did Google to see if a porn parody of this movie existed. We're talking about this very topic, and yes, it does. It does exist. It actually just came out. Or the trailer, I don't think the movie is out yet. There was a trailer for one, and the quality actually did look better than the movie. It looked better than this. Now it's 20 years later, but still.
Come on.
But still.
Come on.
They didn't have 30 million. They didn't have 30 million.
I mean, it definitely does. Take the screenshot to anybody. We tweeted it out when we announced the movie. It looks exactly like an adult film parody of itself. So anyway, enough about that. Let's talk about the story a little bit.
Well, before we move on to the story, can we get back to the character for a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
We got to talk about Shao Kahn real quick before we move on. Shao Kahn, now this guy, I know him as the knife maniac from Cobra, the Sylvester Stallone movie.
Oh, he's in that? I didn't realize that was him.
Yeah, he's like the main guy. I don't know.
I haven't seen that in forever.
Or he's the guy, the supermarket. I can't remember. He's one of those guys. But like to actually give him lines that actually mean something, it's kind of tough for this guy. I feel like he's more of a goon.
Yeah,
than a main bad guy.
He has a goon face,
but I think that he actually did an admirable job for the level of actor that he actually is. he was way cast. Like his agent pulled something big here because he was way above what he should have been.
Like he pulled higher than his pay grade.
Yes.
See, I actually disagree with you. I think you're making a good point. Yeah. But I think he was the worst actor in the whole movie.
No, he wasn't worse than Sindel.
He was so bad that every time the guy talked, I couldn't pay attention to what he was saying because he kept he talked like this.
Yeah.
Like he was trying to do this weird thing with his voice. And I don't know if that's the director. Like who gave him that direction?
He was probably doing his line and then the director was like, stop. All right, do it this way. No, do it this way. Do it this way. And like it devolved into what he ended up settling on.
It was bad, man. It was really bad.
He was doing this thing where he was trying to like you do the big bad guy thing where you laugh your line like, I'm going to destroy you.
The world is over.
Like the laugh type thing. And he was doing that like with every line.
Yeah.
That's not his fault. That's the director feeding that to him.
Yeah.
But I also feel like he had the Shao Kahn laugh down like dead. It was a dead on Shao Kahn.
How do you
laugh.
know they didn't just put the sound effect into it? They did it with Raiden's torpedo. Maybe it wasn't actually him. Maybe they actually
don't crush my dreams. I'm trying to give the movie the credit here.
Let me tell you what about this guy, and I'll tell you where they went wrong with him. They took his mask off. You know what I mean? Like he's the kind of guy that should have had the helmet on the whole time.
Yeah,
because it's more menacing with you're wearing somebody's skull on your face. That's pretty menacing.
It would have been better, or even like if it wasn't a mask. No, I know we're deal with the mythology of Mortal Kombat. We don't want to mess around with it too much, but if he was kind of mutant-y in a way, or kind of like he's already kind of a god in a way.
Yeah. At the end of the first one, it was that. If you remember.
He was like out of the sky. He was huge.
It was like big Dr. Claw,
bellowing voice, right?
Yeah, it was the guy from Inspector Gadget.
And then he's like, "Oh, hi!
Yeah, this guy.
I'm gonna get you."
You're right. I mean, I don't want to bash this guy's life. He did a pretty good job for what he was given, and I'm sure the direction was not great.
No, he wasn't good. Don't get me wrong.
No, he wasn't good.
Yeah.
But nobody in this movie was good, really. I mean, he definitely took me out of it, and I'll say it wasn't his fault. But my biggest thing was he should have kept the mask on. They should have done that, because the second he took the mask off, he had such a goofy expression, and he tried to look tough, and it just wasn't working, especially with everybody else in all these ridiculous costumes. It wouldn't have been out of place if he just kept it on. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think that's kind of where they went wrong a little bit. And I think that didn't do them any favors for like the level of evil that this guy's supposed to be. It's like some guy with a cue ball head walking around just trying to be tough, and it just didn't work for me.
Yeah, I couldn't take him seriously as an evil guy, and that's the biggest downfall.
Well, and then the fact that, talk about other character development here kind of plays into the story a little bit. This whole movie's about daddy issues, right? And
who knew?
And that wasn't really doing any favors. Like, I just didn't really like the angle that they took with that. Yeah. And I think it could have been a lot more interesting. Like, one of the things that we praised Mortal Kombat, the original, about was they didn't try to do too much with the story. They made it into the tournament, and the tournament was very similar to Bloodsport. The Kumite was like the main event.
Right.
And they had some things centered around that, and there were some really great action scenes. Right. This just felt like hyperspeed. Like, let's cram as many people in as we can.
Fights on top of fights on top of fights on top of fights, and with no meaning towards them. Oh, Scorpion showed up. Let's fight him now.
Yeah.
Whereas in the past, it was all part of a tournament. A fight could happen anytime, anywhere. And it was structured around that story, and it worked a lot better than this one.
It gave a lot more, like, centering to the story. Like, this felt really hard to follow, to be honest.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the story. I'll kind of go through these relatively quickly, but let's talk and stop on each one of the plot points. I'll bring some of these up, and I want to kind of get your thoughts on it. So the whole movie revolves around Shao Kahn breaking the rules. They won the Mortal Kombat tournament in the previous movie. Immediately after, he shows up and says, hey, I'm going to invade the world, whatever. Shang Tsung died, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. So he gives them 7 days before he absorbs Earth into Outworld. Like you said at the beginning, why 7 days?
Why are these gods from the dimension? Is it a dimension? Right?
I guess it's a dimension.
Another dimension. Why are they adhering to like the rules of the Earth's weeks, days, years? Oh, the tournament must be won 10 years in a row, or else the Earth will be theirs. And we have to do this in 7 days, or this.
Like, where did they get the 7 days from?
Like, why are they adhering to our time structures?
I'm with you on that. So, do you think this is a good plan? Do you think he should have just done it? Like, what was he thinking?
If he's breaking the rules to like open the portal, why doesn't he just like cheat more?
Yeah. I mean, he's already cheating to do this in general. Like, I don't get it.
More though, cheat more.
So
make it like 7-on-1. Get all the dudes. You know how many different colors of like suits, like a Scorpion has yellow and Sub-Zero has the blue.
Get the color wheel out.
Let's get the color wheel. Get the purple one. Get the red one. They had the red one.
Ermac.
Yeah, the Ermac or Rain, whatever the hell.
Noob Save It.
They had like a rainbow one, and just like just keep going out. But no, you don't want. You want to cheat, but not cheat too much.
Yeah, he cheat a little bit. Yeah. Like it's like deflating footballs. Just do that.
It's like in Madden, you can turn off pass interference, but you're not going to turn off sides off. Then it's like it just destroys the integrity of the game. You just sack the quarterback every time.
I'll never forget when we used to play NHL. When we used to live in an apartment together. If you listen to the show, you know this by now. We used to play NHL. We'd basically turn penalties off and just kill everybody,
smash everybody against the wall. That's right.
That's what he did.
Yeah. Roughing
so,
days.
Speaking of killing people. He kills Johnny Cage in the first 3 minutes of
Johnny Cage.
this movie. Now, were you expecting that? Is that like why did they choose him of all people to kill off? Like he was a pretty major character in the first movie.
Here's my theory. So they didn't get the original Johnny Cage actor back for the second one. What if they had Johnny Cage be like a main part in the script, but they got this new actor and he was just like the worst one of all the actors, and they just killed him off instead? You know what? Rewrite.
I have trivia for you, which it's part of it, but I'm going to jump ahead because it gives you now.
Good.
The reason why that guy didn't sign on to do the movie is because he saw that they got killed immediately.
Oh.
So he denied the movie because he saw that his character was
isn't that a
in it.
mistake for him, though?
Yes, it is.
Because that's an easy paycheck.
It is.
That's like 1 day of shooting.
Right. That's what I mean. It's like being a backup quarterback or signing on for one game.
And apparently if they're flying out to all these exotic locations, you get a free trip out of it.
Maybe he was upset he couldn't go to Jordan
Or is it like that episode of Entourage where Johnny Drama wants to be in the movie, but he has to pay his own way to get there?
Yes, they're making him pay because he's only there for a day.
Maybe they make Johnny Cage pay to go there. So he's like, no, I'm not going to do it. It's not worth it.
He snaps his neck in pretty ridiculous fashion.
Yeah.
And the slow motion sunglasses, they go. That was a fatality of all fatalities.
But even though it was a neck snap, I felt it was pretty weak neck snap.
Yeah.
And I thought it was very odd that a movie like Mortal Kombat this was almost a PG movie.
Yeah,
You know?
it was.
If it wasn't for the dark themes, the violence was very by the numbers. No blood, no broken bones besides the neck, which was a questionable neck snap. And really, I felt like this could have been a PG movie almost. It was very, very kid friendly.
Do you think it's because they were marketing to children? Is that the type of thing? Like,
I think so.
Can't get the parents to take their kids to this because it's too bloody. That type of thing.
Yeah, I think I commented on this as we were watching the movie that this is I could word this weird. It's the most kid-friendly adult movie you could possibly make.
Yeah,
it's almost like the most kid-friendly PG-13 movie of all time. It's like it's so far closer to the PG thing than the PG-13 thing that they almost did that on purpose to where 10-year-olds are really gonna love this, and probably 10-year-old me or you probably did enjoy this movie back in the day.
I saw this in the theater. Fun fact, and I loved it because I wanted to love it. Like I loved Mortal Kombat at the time. I feel like everybody our age at that time loved Mortal Kombat. And the fact that they just threw all of the characters out at you. Like I think I said this in our original episode when we talked about the first one. One of the things I remember is I remember liking this more. Looking back on it, it's really bad. It's not anywhere near as good as
like
the
Ninja
first
Turtles
one.
too.
Yeah, because they just throw a bunch of stuff at you. Ghostbusters 2, same thing. I mean, this is a lot worse.
How dare you? How dare you?
It's a lot worse.
How dare you throw Ghostbusters 2 into this conversation?
That's true, yeah. As I stare at Vigo on the wall here.
Let's move on.
So this is the first situation where they start just throwing everybody at you. So then immediately Sonya Blade goes and needs to get Jax's help because Johnny Cage is dead.
Yeah.
So she goes and sees Jax. He's got his arm transplants.
Got his robo arms.
And who do they throw in here? Cyrax.
You know what? He's the best actor in the movie.
Cyrax. He's the guy in the suit.
Sarah, Sonya Blade.
You're destructed.
Shao Kahn will be pleased.
Yeah, it's like, it made no sense that they had this, but this is where I think you're watching this movie, you kind of understand what it's going to be when this happens. He's in the movie, he self-destructs, and it's over. That's it. It's just like a fight. That's it.
I was a huge Cyrax fan.
You liked Cyrax?
Playing the game.
The green net?
Playing the game with the green net.
Didn't he have like a little poison ball too?
I don't know if that was that Sector?
Sector had the missiles.
Oh, Sector had the missiles. Yeah. Cyrax had the poison balls, but it was all about the green net. You could spam that green net at everyone.
Yeah. The green net was pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, he just blows up. I just felt like this was the beginning of throwing everybody at you.
He busted through the wall, literally busted through the wall out of nowhere. Like there's no reason for him to be there.
It was like Global Guts style too, with like the foam blocks. It was pretty bad.
I'm not going to tell these people how to make their movie. It's already been done. There's no character development. There's no nothing. It's just, let's just throw these guys out there. They're going to fight each other and you're not going to care about it. And by the way, the fighting isn't as good as the first one either. It isn't
as good as the first one.
For a movie that's all about fighting and no story, the fights actually suck.
Yeah, there's a couple good ones, like this the one we'll get to in a minute, Sub-Zero Scorpion one. That was pretty good, but the rest were pretty bad. So then from here, they go and fight him. Somehow Melina shows up. They fight her too. Melina. What's up with that? And she never takes her mask off.
No, that's
which I kept waiting for her to take her mask off.
Yeah, they were out of money.
It's just kind of weird.
They were out of money. They couldn't have the CG teeth.
They could have just spray painted them on. So then from there, going through it a little quickly, you got Kitana and Liu Kang, and then they show up.
Sexual chemistry off the charts.
The sexual chemistry off the charts. Don't they go through this like ball thing?
The ball thing. Can we talk about the ball thing? I forgot about the ball thing.
The ball thing, right? So it's like giant gyroscopes that uses the Earth's energy to what did they say? Transport themselves?
Transport themselves through the Earth's core, but like, did they dig out all the path?
He said that these tunnels existed or something, right? Like, what was that about?
I don't even know. I don't even think they know. Scene? They don't even know what they're talking about.
What did you think of that? What did you think of the thing? It was very sexualized. Like, if we're talking about the porno, this is where it happens. Yeah. This is where it happens.
It was very, hold me closer, Lou. It's like...
But they weren't holding each other. They were holding the thing like freaking... What's the guy from not Vigilante 8, from Twisted Metal 2?
Axel. It's like Axel.
It's the guy in a wheel. It's like it's just like a guy holding onto a wheel. It's so ridiculous. That's what this was.
Just gyroscopes just through the Earth's core.
But I didn't even really get it. It was just like, that's where they blew their budget. Like I would have rather not seen that and then give Melina the mouth.
Can't we just do like a teleportation thing?
They should have better done that.
You don't need to explain these things.
They should have uppercutted them to the other level. That's what they should have done.
That's how you get to places. Uppercut.
They should have uppercutted each other to get to the bottom level. But they go there and then, Liu Kang and Kitana, they find Nightwolf, who is played by somebody named Lightfoot. Did you ever hear this? It's a hip hop artist.
This is my favorite character.
Lightfoot. What'd you think?
I've never heard of him. I didn't know he was a rapper.
Yeah, I didn't know either.
No. He probably has the worst line of the whole movie. Not his fault. It was written for him. where he turns himself into what was it? The wolf?
It was a wolf. He shows up as the wolf
and
or
then,
something.
Quote from the movie, "Cool, huh?"
Yeah.
It's my animality. What's like, come on, what?
That's where, I was expecting them to start putting babalities and friendships and all the other stuff in there, because it's like, okay, they say they're making this for the fans, and I get it. Like, they're just trying to throw everything at you.
Like, that line is like written by a 10-year-old.
Right.
By a 10-year-old for a 10-year-old. And all the 10-year-olds probably go, yeah, that's his animality. Like, that line serves no purpose to anyone over the age of 8.
But how do you feel then? Because he's got to try to teach Liu Kang. He's got this patented process, right? It's like
tell
the
me about the
dentist
process.
system.
How do you channel your inner animality?
You need to pass a series of 3 tests.
Okay.
Now tell me if you would pass these, Badway. Nightwolf teaches Liu Kang, and the quote is, "Liu, you need to feel your animality, like feel it."
Okay.
And you start to see his eyes go into like some type of dragon, but you don't see it. You just see the eyes, and they go, and then they leave because he can't hold it.
There's a flicker.
So the first one that you need to learn, Badway, tell me if you feel like you've mastered this. We'll feel your animality right now. You need to master your self-esteem and your focus.
I don't have either of those.
The second one, master your temptation.
I don't have any of those. I just saw the trailer for the Mortal Kombat parody.
I know what you're doing after this.
So I haven't seen any of those.
So so apparently he passes the first one.
Yeah.
The second one, Jade shows up again. Throw another character at you.
Jade. Here's another girl. We'll give her green.
Jade shows up, tries to seduce Liu Kang.
Oh.
He says, "No,
I'm not. No, I got a mission.
I got a mission. I got a girl. I gotta rescue
not
my
now,
babe.
I'm busy.
He got to rescue her.
Give me a number."
And the third step, Badway.
Yeah.
Never revealed. Did they have it? And I mean, it's literally not revealed in the movie.
Yeah.
He tells him he has 3 steps. He passes the first 2.
You can't just give away all the tips. You got to figure it out for yourself.
Like, what happened?
I have a theory.
Did they cut it?
I have a theory that this animality thing is like it's like sexual.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a very sexual, like, to like channel your inner animal, your animal instincts. And the way that Nightwolf here is delivering these lines is he does doing it in like a sultry way.
Yeah, he is.
I feel like there's like this it's all about sexuality in a way.
Feel your sexuality.
Yeah, like I feel like it's all about like your inner chi, if you know what I mean.
He definitely does. He turns the steam up a little bit.
A little sleazy.
He does.
He's a little sleazy.
So what is his animality? I mean, we see it at the end of the movie, but I mean, clearly he learns how to do it.
Yeah, he's a dragon.
He's like a big dragon.
Figured out step 3.
It's like, it reminds me of was it Starsky and Hutch?
Yeah.
Will Ferrell's character, like a dragon. It's very sexual. Yeah. So anyway, he figures out how to do this, even though he doesn't know how to do the third step. Meanwhile, you've got all these other separate plot threads going on. Scorpion shows up, kidnaps Kitana. This was, I guess, prior, but there was a pretty cool fight scene between him and Sub-Zero. Sub-Zero shows up. It's the guy. He's like, "Oh, I thought you died." No, yeah. I'm his younger brother.
I'm his brother, the classic trick.
Yeah, and he takes the mask off. So this leads me to the classic question: which was your favorite version of Sub-Zero in the games, Badway?
Oh yeah, I like the Mortal Kombat 3 human, unmasked Sub-Zero with the little scar on the eye. You do the movie, you do the down, back down, low punch.
Yeah, the little ice sculpture.
Ice sculpture of yourself, which he pulled off in this
He did it in the movie. The second he did it, I was like, oh! He did it.
Not to be outdone by you throw the ice down on the ground.
Oh, and
you make your opponent slip.
Or the rain.
Yeah.
He does the rain up.
Yeah.
Sub-Zero was always my favorite character. I don't know why. It's maybe the blue color. I don't know. He was definitely my favorite. I knew his combos too in Mortal Kombat 3.
But again, with this, it's kind of like in the first one, they were both bad guys, so they didn't fight each other. And in this one, they finally have the showdown. It's what you as a kid would want. Like, oh man, Scorpion Sub-Zero. I can play this at the game, but here, let me watch these martial artists do their thing. But they like stumble across the screen to me, I feel. It feels very clumsy.
Well, and in the mythology of it too, they were mortal enemies, aren't they? I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, so the
They're
first
supposed to
one,
be against each other.
what's
The
up
first
with
one,
that?
I don't know.
I thought the fight was one of the better fights, but it still wasn't very good.
Right, yeah. It shows you just the level of this movie.
The set piece was kind of neat. So, but anyway, so
a lot of styrofoam.
Yeah, there was a lot of
styrofoam in that set.
Styrofoam bridge.
Yeah.
I guess I talked about that at order. That was right after they got out of the ball thing.
Matter.
It doesn't matter.
It does not matter.
Whatever.
Doesn't matter.
Meanwhile, you have...
Can we I don't mean to interrupt you, but
go ahead.
Can we go back to the animality for a second?
Yeah.
So when
been thinking
Liu
about
Kang fights Shao Kahn and it's animality on animality,
Is it bestiality?
and I'm not going there, Drew. But Shao Kahn's animality is like a Medusa.
It was like a Hydra
scepter kind of snake thing.
Yeah.
So does he? Let me go back to the steps here. Does Shao Kahn have self-esteem and focus?
He probably has it.
I don't know,
he has
man.
hubris.
Yeah, but his dad, he's like trying to impress his dad.
That's true, actually.
He feels kind of bad because he's not impressing his dad. He doesn't have self-esteem.
So do you need to maintain self-esteem, or this is so you unleash it only one time? So like if you get depressed after, you could still do it because you unleashed it one time before? Like how does it work?
I don't know. And temptation, do you think that is he more of like a Jade kind of guy or more of like a Shiva kind of guy? Would he go after the beast? Would he go after the beast?
He looks like
or
a beast
Sindel,
master.
who's like 5,000 years old,
dead, like she's a corpse.
Yeah,
yeah. No, I actually think that he is a temptation. Like he gives in to temptation. So you're right. Like he probably shouldn't be able to unleash his bestiality.
Well, let's go back to the porn parody now. Do you think in one of the scenes we could have like a 3-way with Shao Kahn, Shiva, and Motaro?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Is that a thing that could happen, or is that bordering on bestiality?
It's illegal, probably.
Can you not have that?
I mean, as long as you don't use real like animals, like maybe if the guy's in like you know what they do?
I know where you're going.
The costume where they have two people.
Yeah, there's 2 people, so it's a 4-way.
They have 2 people in the costume.
Yes.
That's what they do.
Yes.
It's getting steamy in here, folks.
All right, please go. I digress.
Yeah, they definitely have somebody in the costume. Meanwhile, you got Hugo Posh, the porn producer himself from Girl Next Door, James Remar. What do we know? He's up there with Iris Crisp. He's up there with, he was up there with the Elder Gods. So he goes to his Elder Gods. He's like, what's up with this? Why is this guy allowed to cheat? And they gave all these weird excuses, basically saying like, whatever, you deal with it.
Sorry, bro.
Just saying, deal with it.
Yeah.
He asks them why they're doing it. They get ambiguous answers, and basically he gets an option to say, if you love him so much, why don't you marry him? That kind of thing.
Basically.
If you love humanity so much, why don't you become one?
Right.
So he gives up his god powers to join humanity. As part of that process, Badway, he gives up those luscious locks.
Those grandma locks.
Silverback hair, man. Yeah. The silverback hair. He gives up the grandma hair, he looked ridiculous to begin with. What do you think of the new look?
I don't know, man. With the vest and the short hair, it's Billy Idol, man.
Somebody said that.
It's Billy Idol.
I was reading an article, and they're like, he gives your best like dad's Billy Idol impression.
It's obvious the guy was going for Billy Idol. I mean, it's an obvious joke to make. I'm sorry to say, but
could you see him getting into a fight with like the costume producer when they decided? Because he probably signed up thinking I'm going to look cool like Christopher Lambert in the first one, and then he sees the script, and they're like, "Hey, we got to change this."
I gotta ask you though, shouldn't he have a really skinny, small ponytail?
He should
with that hair.
He should.
I feel like he should have a ponytail. Like not a bad guy ponytail.
Like talking about the samurai one?
Yeah, like a tiny braided one.
Like the one that we said from the Home Improvement Kid, right?
Yeah.
Like the little Bushido one?
Yeah. He needed a ponytail.
It wasn't working that hair for me. Like he was also pretty skinny. Like they probably should have given him a trainer.
He did not look fit at all, did he?
You can't. Well, I guess he was fit, but compared to some like Jax, who's jacked,
right? But he looked like a dad. He looked like a 40-year-old man.
Like if you're gonna do sleeveless, you got to really like work out the guns before you jump in that.
If he's gonna turn himself into a human, you think he would have some say into what his body looked like? Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree with that.
When you're a god, it doesn't matter. You just shoot lightning and you're done with it. It doesn't matter what you look like. You don't have to work out anymore when you're a god.
Yeah,
it's just that you are what you are.
So you're not really digging the haircut, I assume, either.
No, not with the vest.
It kind of ruined it for me, Like I don't know, I wasn't
not with the vest. The hair would have worked with something. I don't know. Cover your guns up. You got no guns.
This is where like the plot starts to really go off the rails. Like we kind of went off the rails before, but it's like now
it didn't go off the rails during the animality.
Yeah, I mean the sexuality part.
The sexuality.
Now he's a human, so he teams up with them. He's like, "Hey guys, I'm one of you now." He's all happy and proud. So then Jade offers to take Liu Kang to the Elder Gods Temple to meet with Raiden so that he can meet up and say, "Hey, here's what's going on. We got to go save Katana. How are we going to get there, right?" So then they meet up with Raiden. He explains that he gave up his god powers to become one of them. Now we got to go to Outworld.
Yeah.
What's going on here? Like, and that was like probably 20 minutes of just getting to that point. Like that's where maybe they could have trimmed some of the fat, I think.
Trim the fat of an 80-minute movie. Yeah.
That'd be direct to DVD.
Yeah.
Direct to DVD.
Or use that 20 minutes more wisely to make us care about Liu
Character
Kang again
development.
or something. I don't know.
Right. And I think if there's one crime in this movie, it's the fact that Robin Shao, who was definitely one of the better parts of the first one, didn't get really any screen time. He was just like, he was eye candy for people, you know?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, it's Liu Kang, here he is. He's just kind of going from point A to point B. He didn't really do anything, you know? And it was kind of like a crime, I feel.
Yeah.
So they go to Outworld to go rescue her, reunite with Sindel. What happens, Badway? Double agent.
Oh, man, Jade, she done her dirty.
Was she bad in the game? Do you remember?
Yeah, she was.
Didn't she? Did she have the?
She had a mask, but she was a
spike
human.
mouth, too?
No, I'm pretty sure
wasn't?
she was a human.
Yeah. She was green. That's all I know.
You could tell by those eyes, man. She was evil.
She was
She was evil. You could tell. She's trying to seduce Liu Kang. How dare you?
I mean, he passed the test. Clearly, he became the dragon, but she's a double agent.
But you could tell right away when you try to seduce the hero of the story, it's like she's trying to slow him down. Like, obviously. Come on now.
This is where bombshell of all bombshells in this movie is revealed.
Dun dun dun.
Shao Kahn, Raiden, brothers. Did you think that
Didn't
did it
care.
have an impact to you?
Didn't care.
like whatever. Like, it was so weird. This is where you see his dad, who really they missed a great opportunity to cast Peter Stormare. You said it to me. That was like, this should be the guy from Prison Break.
The guy who plays Chinook, we didn't know he was Chinook, who's another famed member of the Mortal Kombat mythology. He looks and acts like Peter Stormare.
But he's not.
If it was him, that movie just gets like another like 3% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Easily
3%.
He would
Bump
steal
it up
the
to
show.
6%.
He would steal the show.
He would
I feel.
have with his slimy.
He got that
way
slick back hair.
He oozes the words come out of his mouth. The slick back hair.
One of the best roles he's ever done has been he was the devil in Constantine, and he was so good as the devil in that. This was like not really that big of a bombshell. When I saw it, I was like, really? Like, that's where they're going with this?
That's it. Yeah.
I feel like that's another poor writing decision. Like, I wasn't really into that idea that they were brothers. Like, who really cared, you know?
Doesn't care.
It didn't really have any weight. So, long story short, they fight. He throws some green energy ball at Raiden, and he kills him. Bye.
A damn green energy ball.
He's dead.
Man.
In the meantime, I think he wound up killing Rain and Ermac. There's all these other characters in here.
Listen, every Mortal Kombat character died in this movie.
I think there's a Baraka fight.
All
at
the
one
bad
point.
ones died, and they were like 3-minute fights, and it didn't mean anything.
But like Rain wasn't even a fight. He was just like Rain, and then apparently Cabal and Stryker died off screen.
Yeah, somewhere off screen.
They mentioned them.
Shiva, who did nothing but pose and smile all movie, she got crushed and didn't even throw a punch.
Yeah,
didn't even throw a punch.
She and Sindel. We talk about the porno. They were two actresses that looked like they were in the costume for it. It looked so ridiculous. So, but I mean, there's a bunch of stuff that's happening. I mean, what else is there to say? The Elder Mads get mad. They find out that Shinnok is treacherous. They decide they need to do Mortal Kombat to decide. Liu Kang fights Shao Kahn. I know we're blowing through this in the end, but it's like they use their animalities. They say, oh, now we need to decide. He sees that he's bleeding, so he knows that Shao Kahn's mortal. Realizes, hey, we need to decide this in Mortal Kombat. And they have Mortal Kombat. Who wins? Liu Kang wins.
Of course.
Beats him, just like the original movie. End of the story. Everybody's reunited. Happy ending. Game over. What do you think? I mean, that's it in a nutshell.
That's it. That's all you can say. It's game over. It didn't matter. None of it mattered.
Raiden somehow becomes revived, and then he takes the place of Shinnok for his dad. He becomes an elder god himself, gets inducted into the God Hall of Fame. He's part of the Petra, ruins.
Did he get his hair back? I forget.
No, I don't think so.
Did the hair grow back? I don't remember.
See, I feel like he should have to wait till his hair gets long enough again to become a god.
So like he's been alive for like centuries, right?
I think so.
So what's it going to matter if he waits another year for his hair to grow back?
Yeah.
Skipped over the Jax and Motaro fight.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Now, that was maybe my favorite fight of the whole movie.
It wasn't bad.
Where Jax, he's using his super arms and one gets ripped off and Motaro stops in the middle of the fight and goes, haha, now you don't have your arm. You are weak. Like, of course a villain would say that, right?
They gave him a line.
Yeah, he gave him a line
shouldn't
there.
have.
And then Jax was like, screw this. I'm going to beat you with my bare hands, bitch.
Pretty awesome.
And he learned from that he had the power within. He didn't need the robot arms. It was a very nice.
So
moment.
when he was getting the robot arms put on, I was questioning whether they were robot arms, like overlays, or they were like his arms got ripped off and he got them replaced. Because I think in the game, I'm pretty sure they were replaced.
The arms are his arms in the game, but in the movie, they're just like overlay, like little surgery type thing. It wasn't even surgery. I don't know.
It's just like a case.
Like they got ripped off pretty easily in the fight, and he wasn't hurt by it.
Yeah.
But getting back to the porno parody, Drew, the arms of Jax. How can we utilize these arms? I
mean, they're mechanical, so you can think of a few different things that you could do with them.
Do you think it's a solo scene?
Yeah. I can't comment on that one. No comment.
Moving on.
No comment on that one.
What else is mechanical in Jax?
Oh, man.
Never mind. And about the porn parodies, Drew. While we're on the subject.
I don't
know how we keep coming back to this.
Yeah.
It's probably my fault. Keep bringing it back. Melina. She's got the teeth, right?
You can't have that scene.
Can't have that scene.
That turns into a horror movie.
Right.
That's not.
Yeah.
It turns into a horror movie.
Sindel, Drew.
Yeah.
She floats, right?
Yeah. She's also dead, too. And that's a violation. Maybe you can't have her in that. It's a violation if she's dead.
Yeah, man.
I mean, like, what about Cyrax? He's got the green net. He opens up his chest and the green net comes out.
His pants have a little compartment. Are we sure Sector or Cyrax aren't one of them aren't female? We can have a scene of them both, like robotic.
It's kind of like Samus, I guess. We don't really know who's under there.
It's called Dildonics, Drew. I don't know if you know this.
Teledildonics.
Teledildonics.
I mean, Liu Kang has a fireball. We could do a lot with that too. So
this movie may have been a PG movie, but this podcast is just not for kids.
We've earned our rating here after the first 15
so
minutes.
many questions, and I feel like I'm like moving towards the Creep Hall of Fame here, I need to stop.
We're gonna induct you into the Creep Hall of Fame. You're gonna be up there with Phil Hartman.
How are we gonna wrap this up, Drew? Because we've been talking about this crappy movie for 47 minutes or whatever, however much time is left.
So I'll leave you with a little bit of trivia before we head out. We're pretty close to the end here. Just a couple tidbits of interesting facts that I found when we were doing a little bit of research for this movie, saying, hey, what the hell are we actually going to talk about? One of the things that I thought was interesting was Tony, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, Tony Jaa? Is it
Tony Jaa?
Tony Jaa. Tony Jaa. He was Robin Shou's stunt double in the movie. Did you know that?
Interesting. I mean, that guy's awesome.
He could have been like the main actor. He's in a whole bunch of other movies.
What scenes would he have done? Because
he wasn't in much, was he?
No, but Liu Kang, like he's like, what's his name?
Robin Shou.
He's
a good actor.
Like he's like a really good martial artist himself.
Yeah.
So what possibly, do you think it was maybe like wire work or something? Maybe he wasn't familiar with the wire work. Because if you notice, every time they jumped off a platform, they had to do like a triple somersault.
Yeah.
Totally unnecessary.
Another piece of trivia for you. I want to see the books because they had what, $30 million?
Yeah.
$30 million? We got to see their shot by shot like breakdown. We need the accounting. We need to talk to the accountants on this movie. In the middle of the movie, there's a scene where Shao Kahn kills Rain by knocking him into a pit of fire. Yeah. Later in the film, if you remember the Baraka fight,
yes,
Baraka dies by falling into the same pit. But they reuse the footage of Rain's death for this scene instead of filming a new one for Baraka's death. Like, where did they spend that money?
Yeah, but I didn't notice it really. I mean, I wasn't looking for it, so I guess it's okay to cut your costs there. But my beef with that is you got to change stages, man. You can't have two deaths on the same stage.
That's what I mean. Like, they reuse the same thing. It's pretty bad.
If you're going to use the same stage, I'm okay with using the same body if you can't tell who is who while they're in the flames. But, man, get a different pit. There was like 3 different pits in Mortal Kombat 2 alone.
I mean, they got the one with the spikes. They got the acid in Mortal Kombat 2, the acid pit in that one. There's the other fire
one. They
used
used the spikes in one. They didn't use the green pit. They didn't use the acid pit.
That's like the reptile home stage.
Yeah.
That's the best one. That was my favorite one with the skeleton floating.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You could like uppercut them into there and they like disintegrate.
I really got mad when someone knocked me into that pit. Like, if you're going to kill me, don't
knock me into the pit.
Don't knock me
Just
into that
hit me
pit.
with a low punch.
Yeah. I didn't want to go in the acid pool.
Is it like rebelling against society if when the guy's like standing there and says finish him, instead of doing the fatality, you just walk up and you do a low kick?
I used to do a low punch.
Yeah.
I used to do a low punch just to like for insult to
injury. Disrespect.
It's more insulting to someone than to try and fail to do a fatality.
because honestly, doing the fatalities, like You know the code, but it doesn't work.
It doesn't work sometimes. And then
you have to be a certain distance.
And the worst is just when like you do all the buttons and the last button's high punch and they do like the high punch jab. You're like, ah, damn it.
Or the other thing too, like when you have to do it, you're like hitting up, down, left, right, low punch, kick, whatever, and then it ends with like a directional button.
Yeah.
And you do all the buttons and they just move half an inch.
Oh yeah.
And then you got to do it again. So it's basically them just moving an inch, and then time runs out and the guy passes out. It's like that's more embarrassing to me than trying to actually do just some other move. Do like a roundhouse kick. At least you get kicked.
Did you ever do a fatality at the arcade?
No.
Besides Scorpion?
No, actually, I did the Liu Kang
everyone knew
one.
Scorpion.
Yeah, the Liu Kang one where he hits you with the one fireball and you disintegrate. I could do that one. That was basically it.
Yeah.
But to try to memorize that stuff, those are the types of things that I do know. I don't know things that are important to the world, but I memorize fatalities and babalities and all this crap that doesn't matter.
But it's so hard to do like the directional moves on an arcade joystick.
It is.
You end up jumping forward and then you're screwed if you jump forward because you don't have time.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Although some people say like they prefer the stick, I actually like the buttons because know you're doing up, down, left, or right.
Yeah, but I feel like fighting is okay. In the arcade, it's fine. But to do the fatalities where precision is needed, it's very hard to do in the arcade.
Yeah. So I'll leave you with a couple more pieces of trivia here. Two of the film's actors, we kind of mentioned this already. American Gladiators. Jax was played by Lynn Red Williams, who was Saber on American Gladiators, and Darren McBee, a.k.a. Malibu, a.k.a. Motaro. We don't know who played the ass, but we know he played the front,
he played the front part,
He played the front. He was pretty jacked, too.
He was. I didn't know if that was CG or if that was his real bod. I mean, obviously, he was an American Gladiator, so he's,
He was great in, what was he, Thor and Curb Your Enthusiasm?
He was Thor and Curb Your Enthusiasm, professional wrestler.
Great bit part there.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were two. They fought each other in the climactic fight scene towards the end of the film that you mentioned.
Yep.
That was a great piece. Another piece of trivia that I found really interesting, if you remember the end of this movie, they kind of canceled all future plans. There was a web series called, I think, Mortal Kombat Legacy. I think it was produced on YouTube or Machinima.
I think that's what it was.
Michael Jai White, a.k.a. Spawn, he was supposed to play Jax in this movie, but he had to turn it down because he went to play Spawn.
Yeah.
Was that a good move or a bad move?
Good call.
So, like, Spawn wasn't really done well critically.
No, it wasn't good at all.
Do you think that hurt his career, or would it have been better if he was in this?
It would have been... No, take the Spawn role because I feel like Mortal Kombat Annihilation wouldn't have ruined him because Jack's such a small character.
Yeah.
But at least he got to play a bigger role in Spawn, and it wasn't his fault the movie was bad.
I still kind of like that movie on some level. It's not very good, but it's better than this one, for sure.
For sure.
Christopher Lambert was apparently interested in reprising his role as Lord Raiden, but he was committed to Beowulf at the time.
It was a good move.
Good move for him.
But this movie would have been slightly improved had Christopher Lambert come back.
Yeah, he was better than Hugo Boss.
He was definitely,
You could say that casting James Remar was one of the worst miscastings in like film history.
Yeah.
It just did not fit the right character. Christopher Lambert wasn't great in the first one. I still think that we should have had Steven Seagal. Like, what if he did it in this one? By 97, he was doing lots of direct-to-video stuff, wasn't he? I mean...
This would have been a step up for some of his movies.
You could have had Seagal here. He would have been great, but he wouldn't have cut his hair.
He would not have cut his hair. That would have been a deal breaker.
He can't cut that ponytail, so they'd have to do some CG on that. They ran out of budget. Two more things here. Chris Casamassa. He was supposed to be Scorpion, but he was also committed to do stunt work in Batman and Robin.
Good move. It's
like, do you notice that everyone who was supposed to be in this movie was in another crappy movie, but it wasn't as crappy as this?
Just not as crappy. Like when Batman and Robin is better than your movie that you turned down, that's pretty incredible. I would watch Batman and Robin twice back to back again before I watched Annihilation one more time.
I liked this movie. It was bad, but I liked it.
I'd rather spend 3 hours watching Batman and Robin than an hour and 20 minutes more watching this.
So one other thing about budget here. When Sub-Zero and Scorpion are fighting, we mentioned there's lots of foam in that scene. Scorpion teleports behind Katana and he takes her into a portal. In the wide shot, he can be seen standing off screen prior to grabbing Katana. This guy was director of photography. How did he let that slide?
He knew.
I think
screw it.
Like, this leads me to another question that I have for you. When you have a movie like this and it's bad, right? Yeah. Is it like when you're writing a term paper or an essay and like you're screwed and it's bad, but you have to hand something in?
Gotta hand it in, man. Gotta hand in something.
Like you can't just not hand it in.
Yeah.
Is that what this is?
Yeah.
Did they know?
There's a release date. It sucks, but we gotta hand it in. You're embarrassed by it, but you gotta hand it in.
Like, it's like, you guys can't just not do it.
Yeah. And the $52 million that they made on a $30 million budget is basically like the C- that you get.
Yeah. It's better than zero. I guess.
It's better than a zero.
You can't take a zero.
Yeah.
So, and then one last piece of trivia here. Apparently, the Yellow Ranger from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers auditioned for the role of Jade, but she was also turned down. So
good move.
Again, good move. Good move.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna leave you with one last thing. We talked a little bit about the Ninja Turtles coming out of their shell when we did our Ninja Turtles episode.
Yes.
Are you familiar with the Mortal Kombat Live tour, Badway?
I was not aware of this.
Did you know that this existed? It was basically a martial arts theatrical stage show. They had characters, lasers. There was a plot of, rescuing friends, retrieving a magical amulet from Outworld.
Oh, this sounds like a winner.
Shao Kahn was in this. The show was on Radio City Music Hall in 1995, followed by a 200-city road trip in 96. It was basically doing video game stuff on the stage. I forgot when the first movie came out. It was 95, I believe,
stuff.
Right? Video game stuff. And they had audience participated by yelling, run, kick him, block, finish him, all this stuff. Would you have gone to see this?
Oh, I'm sure that looked real fluid when you just shouting out high punch, low punch. Do you think they did the down, forward, low punch?
Yeah, do the
Shoot
ice
an
blast.
ice ball.
Use the ice ball. Make the ice clone of yourself.
Oh, man. I think I would rather see turtles coming out of our shells before I saw this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, we've been trying to do ratings here. Let's leave everybody with a rating. What do you give this out of 10, like our usual?
0.
You give it a 0.
Yeah.
You're not taking any points away. You're not going to add anything. You really giving it a 0.
Yeah, 0.
So would you ever watch this again?
I'd add I would add probably 5 points if it was actually a porn parody.
Because you'd have something interesting to watch.
Yeah.
So you would never watch this again in your life?
No, there's no reason for me to ever watch this.
Not ever again.
I'd watch the first one again.
Yeah.
But this one, no chance.
Never
chance,
again?
No, this is it.
It is
I retire from Mortal Kombat Annihilation. It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen. I can honestly say that.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
It's on Netflix streaming. If you haven't had a chance, you should watch it just so you can laugh at it with us and create some more porno scenes. We need some more producers on our film. But I guess I'd give it like a 3 out of 10. I enjoyed it on some level because it's kind of like the nostalgia factor.
Yeah.
It wasn't really good from a fighting scenes. There wasn't really good action. I didn't really like the characters.
But a 3.
But it was something. I don't think I'd watch it again in the next 5 years, but maybe eventually I'll say, I bet it wasn't that bad, and I'll wind up firing it up again.
Did you just say it was something?
It was something.
It gets 3 points because it was something.
I gotta reward them for just making something.
Yeah, they tried. 3 points.
So, I guess that's
they handed it in.
A good way to leave it.
They handed it in, so they get 3 points.
So I'd be curious to see what our listeners, everyone that's listening to the show, did you make it this far? Are you still with us?
This far, I swear, man.
I would love to know what you all think. Write into us, thelastRowPodcast@gmail.com. Leave us a comment on the Facebook page, facebook.com/thelastRowPod. Tweet at us. I'm really curious. What's your score out of 10, out of 5, out of 100, out of nothing? Did you watch this? Would you ever watch it again? I just love to know.
Real quick, I would like to say, if you're listening, if you've made it this far, just simply tweet at us, I made it this far. And you will be our listener of the week. Yeah.
We'll give you a shout out next episode because, not only did you maybe sit through that movie, you sat through this.
This is a test to see if I made it this far.
Podcast.
Just simply, I made it this far.
I made it this far.
LastRowPod.
At the Last Row Pod on Twitter. If you want to tweet us personally, I'm DAR268. Badway's Hey Badway. And most importantly, leave us an Apple Podcast review. We're still a few away from this JCVD split, if it ever happens.
No, it's not gonna.
It might not happen. We have 45. Thanks to everybody that left us a review. And if you haven't had a chance, head out to Apple Podcasts. Leave us a 5-star review if you're enjoying the show. Let us know what you think. And we'll see you guys next time.